I will be going live in a few minutes, so I'm just signing in to see how it all is looking. Now, I don't know how to see. Who do I have on here? You know, it doesn't show me who's watching from my phone. Let's see if I can get this on my Facebook. I have so many tabs open, so that's not good, but okay, there I am. Let's see here, who's here? Oh my God, that's an awful picture. Can you guys see me and hear me all good? It doesn't show me who sees me on my live. I don't know why. I think it should though. But give me another minute. Can you guys see me? Oh, I gotta turn that down. Let's see here. On my live. Say hello. Pause this. What is this? Okay. All right. Welcome to my Lunch and Learn. It is noon Eastern Standard Time here on Tuesday. I am here in sunny South Florida. It is beautiful, cold for me. I really am not a huge fan of the cold, but we're gonna make it through. I think we've got a couple of days of cold. And so just as I am covering this, just a disclaimer, I am not a marketing guy. I really don't like spending all that time doing all of it. It wastes a lot of my time. I get stuck in perfection. And so what I'm just gonna try to do is just deliver you some value. I'm gonna share with you some things that I've learned that have really taken me from living in certain types of fear to just going out and trying to live my life. I've done a lot of things that the people that you see posting pictures of, they just post the pictures. I've done the things. I've traveled to another country and lived without really a lot of connections. I've made my way. I've, done and worked on really cool real estate projects, worked in a lot of great businesses. But one thing that I really love is just sharing value and impacting the people around me, helping them break through fears, helping them take action, feeling inspired to live their best life. So for the guys out there, if you're looking to get plugged into a like-minded group of guys, I started a podcast with a buddy of mine, Uncensored Advice for Men. Now we have the Facebook group. If you're interested in joining a like-minded group of guys, a tribe of men that are supporting each other, join us. We would love to have you. I mean, obviously, be like-minded and that will all work. Ladies, if you know a guy who may be interested, tag them or tag me and I'll send you more information. So also, if you need a little more information on breaking through some of your fears, book a call with me. I would love to help you, talk it through with you, see what actions you can take. And then from there, we're going to really dive into what it took for me to take fear, take it off the pedestal, and give myself a chance at doing the things that I wanted to do, accomplishing the goals in this beautifully amazing life, and not always thinking, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen, right? That's what a lot of us do. We think about the worst thing that's gonna happen to us, and a lot of our initial answer is no. I ask a lot of people if they wanna do things, if they wanna try this, if they wanna go and do that, and they're like, no. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't realize it until I got back, how much we live in fear. In Costa Rica, for example, they really don't live in that much fear. And like my dad says, Is there a lot of people dying all over the place? And I'm like, no. And he's like, well, then a lot of fear is made up in our heads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to unpackage what is fear in our heads and what is fear in real life, right? There are things that you need to be fearful of. There are things that you need to be aware of, but there's no need for constant worry over the silliest things. So I kind of had a bit of a fear about being a presence, talking and sharing my knowledge and sharing my coaching and sharing my experiences. And as I started unpackaging what these things were, I had to really ask myself a few questions. And these are coaching questions. These are tried and true, and they're perfect for breaking through fears. But the first thing that I had to cover was, what is stopping me from living my best life? So the first thing that I wrote down, I journal. For those of you that know me well, you'll always kind of pretty much see me with a notebook of some sort. But it says, I am massively limiting my potential, my freedom, my wealth, and my impact on others because of fears that may or not be real, and because of fears that have been from my past. Maybe someone said something in the past and then that registered as a fear, and now I always have it, right? Like, that is where most of our fears come from. So as we ask ourselves these questions, what are fears? What is real? What is not? We start to really understand why fears stop us from taking action, right? Why it stops us from living our best life. So when I stop and I think to myself, what is holding me back? This statement, I am massively limiting my potential, my freedom, my wealth, and my impact on others because of fears that are from my past. Fears that are really just worries, that are just thoughts going around, not real fears. Okay, like, we're gonna talk about real fears, but so many of us are not living in real fear. We're living in these made up fears, these things that aren't even real, but they're massively inhibiting our best life. So I wrote down what is my major fears and what stopped me from really getting out there. I always wanted things to be perfect. I wanted to appear perfect. I wanted to appear super uber successful. I wanted to appear like I got it all together. And that led to tons of procrastination. That led to me getting 90% of a business done and then just walking away because I didn't have the courage to break through the fear. Okay? Perfection leads to procrastination, and it is a massive limiting belief. Another one that I had was I have a speech impediment from when I was a little kid. Most people don't know this because I spent a lot of my life ignoring words that had my speech impediment in them. So as I'm speaking, in person it's one thing, but on camera I feel that. So I had to break through of my speech impediment fear from something that I had from 5th and 6th and 7th grade. Maybe I was kind of bullied for it. Okay, I was bullied for it. Because you really had a hard time understanding me. So now being on camera and speaking in front of people was intimidating. The next thing was, why is being on camera intimidating to me when picking up and moving to another country didn't scare me? When taking on a real estate project that is absolutely beautiful, that was big, didn't scare me. Where jumping on a plane and learning to paraglide and surf and ride a motorcycle with no shoes didn't scare me. But sharing my knowledge scared me. Sharing my knowledge that my friends were like, Austin, you need to teach people this stuff because it is powerful. You have learned this. You have broken through this. You have overcome this. Now you need to share it. So for me, those were huge things that I had to overcome. Those were things from my past, though. They weren't even real fears. So to keep this nice and short, like I said, if you're interested in learning more, I'll be doing this for the next couple of days. But the first question that I'm going to advise us to do together, it's called a fear breakthrough question. And the question is, what am I really afraid of? So to answer that question, I wrote down numbers 1 through 10 underneath the question. and I wrote down the top 3 things, or the top 10 things that I thought I was afraid of for going live and sharing my knowledge and really just putting myself out there to help and educate and teach and learn from you. Why? 4 of them were the same answer, and they were looking silly on camera. Out of my 10 reasons why I was massively holding myself back, limiting my potential, limiting my fear, and limiting my impact, 4 of them were looking silly on camera. I also had no one being interested. I had not making sense on camera. I had whatever this is not working. And then I had, not looking professional, right? And I was scared to put my messages out there. And so what you have to analyze is when you write down those 10 items, you need to split them into the act versus the outcome. I'm going to say that again, but you need to take each one of those 10 items that you wrote down under what am I really afraid of? And you need to split them into act and outcome. I put an A next to all of the ones that were the act, and I put an O next to all of the ones that were the outcome. So the act of getting on camera and speaking doesn't scare me. It's the outcome that I will feel in myself. Will it hurt my confidence if no one cares, if no one sees it, if the algorithm is mad at me for something that I posted a little while ago? Those were all the things that were holding me back. And now that I'm out sharing and I'm experiencing fear with myself and with others in an honest, a radical way of, hey, we all have fears. But which fears are holding you back? And when you address them and you write down the questions, what am I really scared of? Am I scared of the outcome or am I scared of the act? We all speak. We all FaceTime with our friends and family. We all help other people. We all do things. But what adds that element of fear? And by outlining that and by writing down those 10 things that first came to my mind and looking at them and saying, oh my God, 4 of them are how I look on camera. Having nothing to do with who I'm impacting or who I'm inspiring or what it's helping me build. Guys, this is what we live in. We are bred and taught to live in fear. And what I want to challenge you is a challenge that I took when I moved to Costa Rica. And this is funny because all of my Costa Rican friends will laugh, but they called me por qué no. And it doesn't really, it's not the right way of saying it, but in my gringo way of speaking, it was por qué no, and it meant why not. And when people came to me and they were like, hey, Austin, let's go do this. Let's go jump off a waterfall. Let's go climb this. Let's go try this. Let's go try to sell, real estate. I did a bunch of stuff down there. And my answer right off the bat was por qué no. And that means why not? And that means that I took it on and my initial mindset was, why not? And then I analyzed and I said, is it something that I really shouldn't do? Is it something that is really actually dangerous? Is it something that is going to stop me from living my best life in the future? Or is it just something that I should do? And something that I should take the expert's opinion? And that I should feel safe because these guys have been doing this for 40 years and they're still loving it. So I lived with por qué no as my mindset. Should I go and learn Latin dancing? Should I go and learn to surf? Should I go and learn all these things that in here, in the US, we're scared of? So I inspire you to go out and take some action. If you need a little help and you have a fear that you just can't get through, look, I have coaches. I have people that I had to explain and say, guys, I don't know how to say this, but I am terrified to do certain things, silly things. But now I am not. And they encouraged me and they talked through things and they came up with a plan of action and we came up with a plan of action. So there's so many fears in there. So many of them are from our past. So many of them are limiting beliefs. And I just want to inspire you, man. Life can be so big and so awesome once we eliminate fears. And that's what I love coaching on. I love coaching on breaking through fears, inspiring you to take action and living your best life. Whether it's your business, your health, your wealth, your relationships, right? So many of us are scared to say something because it might offend somebody. Guys, let's talk. So if you have any questions, if you want to be on here, it looks like I can bring people on here. I want to keep my intros short and sweet. I have 4 more questions that we're going to go through for the next 3 days at noon. So that's my 12 minutes. I'm going to try to keep these down. I'm not, going to worry about it too much. My real job is to share value, inspire you. If you've broken through a fear, I would love to hear about it. If you have a fear that is all up in your head, write it down. Post it. I'll tell you how we can work through it. But it's so silly, the amount of fear that we live in. And it's so limiting to our lives. So, write a message, book a call, austinarnone.com. Let me know how I can serve you, how I can inspire you, what it's going to take for you to take on that, either break through that fear or take on that goal that you've been trying to take on for maybe last year or maybe 10 years. So many of us have fears that have been following us since we were 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, and that's just not okay. Most of them aren't even real. Okay? We don't need to all be in bubble wrap. So if this inspires you, use the term "por qué no" when someone says, hey, let's go do this. Say why not, and then evaluate. Lean into experiences. Lean into inspiration. I'm encouraging you. I just picked up and left and lived in a place where it was pretty insane. If you want to learn more about what I took on, it was crazy. But I didn't have all the people around me giving me fear. My parents supported me. My family supported me. My good friends, yeah, they're like, you're crazy, but go. And that's who you need to surround yourself with, because most people are going to tell you no. Most people are going to tell you the why it's going to hurt you, why it's going to be bad. And these people have never even done it. What do you want to do that is going to give you your best life? What are you massively limiting in your potential, in your freedom, in your wealth, and in your impact? Guys, signing off. Thanks for joining me tomorrow at noon. I hope you respond to a few things so I can interact a little more with you guys. And if you have any tips and tricks on better lives, I'm all into constructive criticism, and I would love to help you. Have a great day, guys. Enjoy.